Imagine a man who has it all: staggering wealth, absolute power, and control over every aspect of his life. That man is Knight. To him, the world is a chessboard and he's always the king. But what happens when an unexpected piece, a pawn he never even noticed, threatens to checkmate him? One fateful night, his perfectly ordered universe is turned upside down by a woman. She's someone from the fringes of his life, a person he's looked past 1,000 times. Someone who, by his own rules, shouldn't even exist in his world. She was never part of the plan, and yet, in a single, electrifying encounter, she shatters every wall he's built around his heart. This isn't just a simple love story, it's a collision of two vastly different worlds. He's the billionaire titan, accustomed to getting everything he wants. She's the woman who shows him what he truly needs. As their lives become more and more entangled, Knight is forced to confront his own deep-seated prejudices and the cold, empty life he's mistaken for success. She isn't intimidated by his money or his power. Instead, she challenges him. She sees through the facade to the man underneath, and she makes him question every single thing he thought he knew about himself, about other people, and about the one thing his money can't buy: genuine love. He thought he was in control, but he's about to learn that the heart has its own rules. This story will make you wonder, can a man who's built an empire on control ever truly surrender to love? And can a woman who's been invisible her whole life become the one who changes everything for the most powerful man in the city? The journey of Knight and this mysterious woman is a roller coaster of passion, tension, and discovery. He might have been a king in his own world, but she's about to teach him what it truly means to be human. If you're ready for a story that will grab you from the very first moment and not let go, then you've come to the right place. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales that explore the deepest corners of the human heart. Thanks for watching. Maverick Knight was a man who rarely allowed himself distractions. At 39, he had dominated industries, built empires, and amassed a fortune that entire families could only dream of over generations. He thrived on control. When he entered a boardroom, silence followed. Rivals were crushed without hesitation, and women adored him, but only for fleeting moments. What he never considered, however, was black women. Not as friends, not as lovers, not as anything more than a passing glance amid the crowd. It wasn't that he openly disliked them. No, it was worse. He dismissed them entirely. Deep within the layers of his upbringing, he had absorbed a prejudice that told him they weren't his kind of women. They weren't for him. They didn't belong in his world. And so, his life proceeded in its precise, orderly rhythm. Until that night, the rooftop of the Avalon Grand Hotel shimmered in golden light. Thousands of fairy lights hung from trellises. Crystal chandeliers hovered over velvet lounges, and a jazz quartet poured smooth melodies into the air. The city skyline stretched out like a painting, skyscrapers piercing the dusk, the river glinting below. It was Arthur Langston's 50th birthday, and Maverick had come more out of courtesy than enjoyment. Arthur was a fellow billionaire friend from his Harvard days, and his parties were always extravagant showcases of wealth and power. Guests mingled in tailored tuxedos and sparkling gowns, laughter ringing as champagne glasses clinked. Maverick stood by the balcony, a glass of scotch in hand, his piercing blue eyes scanning the crowd with detached precision. He had already exchanged pleasantries with a senator, declined to pitches from investment bankers, and endured a conversation with a model who seemed interested only in his yacht tea, predictable, ordinary, until he saw her, who she entered, like a vision. First, her gown sleek, deep purple satin, hugging every curve, shimmering under the soft chandelier light. Then her poise, regal, confident, each step commanding attention as though she owned the space. And finally, her face. Delicate features, luminous dark skin, and eyes that radiated warmth and strength. Maverick froze. Something inside him shifted, something unfamiliar. He wasn't a man easily shaken, yet his heartbeat betrayed him, thudding harder as she moved further into the room. He told himself to look away. Old habits whispered, "Not her. Not your kind." But his eyes refused. They were drawn to her as though magnetized. "Who is she?" he murmured under his breath. No one else seemed to notice her as he did. Conversations continued, glasses clinked, music swelled, but for Maverick, the party blurred into silence. She moved to the bar, smiled while ordering a drink, and leaned against the counter alone. Maverick downed the rest of his scotch, straightened his jacket, and walked toward her. For the first time in years, he felt nervous. "Good evening," he said, his usually commanding voice carrying a hint of uncertainty. He turned, eyes sweeping over him, lips curving into a polite, measured smile. "Good evening." Up close, she was even more mesmerizing. Her hair swept into an elegant bun, diamond earrings catching the light with every turn of her head. She did not seem intimidated. If anything, she was assessing him, quietly measuring if he was worth her time. "I don't think we've met," Maverick said, extending his hand. "Maverick Knight." Her brow lifted slightly at the name, but she didn't gush or feign excitement. She took his hand with calm confidence. "Fobi Bernard," she replied. Fobi, the name slid over him like velvet. Pleasure to meet you, Fobi Maverick said, reluctantly releasing her hand. Arthur certainly knows how to throw a party, she remarked, glancing around, though I've never been one for all this glitter. Too much sparkle makes it hard to see what's real. Maverick blinked. No one ever spoke like that at these events. Most were busy pretending. Her words were grounded, refreshing. He found himself genuinely smiling. I couldn't agree more. These events are a performance. Her lips twitched. And what role are you playing tonight, Mr. Knight? For a moment he was caught off guard. No one dared tease him, challenge him so casually. Women usually adjusted to his ego, but not her. I suppose I'm playing the bored billionaire, he said dryly. And you? The observer, Fobi replied smoothly, sipping her drink. I like watching people pretend. It tells you more about them than their words ever could. He chuckled, intrigued. You're not like most people here, and you're not as charming as you think you are. She shot back lightly. He laughed, actually laughed, a sound that surprised even him. What started as a hesitant introduction blossomed into a conversation that carried them through the evening. They spoke of travel, books, music, who shared her love of architecture, explaining how cities were shaped not just by buildings, but by the dreams of those within them. Maverick listened, truly listened, not waiting for his turn to speak, and he surprised himself, sharing pieces of his life he rarely revealed, the weight of his empire, the loneliness of success, the walls he had built so high even he struggled to climb them. With anyone else, he would have guarded these truths. With her, they flowed effortlessly. As the night waned and guests departed, Maverick realized he didn't want the conversation to end. I enjoyed talking to you, Fobi, he said softly. I enjoyed it too, she replied. He hesitated, then reached for his phone. May I have your number? Perhaps we could continue this conversation another time, away from all the sparkle. She studied him for a moment, and Maverick felt a strange tension, as if awaiting a verdict. Finally, she nodded and recited her number. When he saved it, something clicked inside him, a door opening. Later, in the back of his black Rolls-Royce, city lights flickering past tinted windows, Maverick stared at her name on his screen. Fobi Bernard. He should have been annoyed with himself. This wasn't him. He didn't chase women. He didn't get distracted. And yet he leaned back against the leather seat, loosening his tie. The world felt unpredictable and he liked it. The billionaire who never considered loving a black woman had spent the night captivated by one, and he sensed his life had changed forever. Maverick Knight was not as only impressed. He had met queens, presidents, tech geniuses, world artists. Yet the morning after Arthur's party, as he sat in his penthouse, his mind refused to release one name, Fobi Bernard. Curiosity gnawed at him. Who was she really? A woman that poised, intelligent, and confident. She had to be more than a guest at a party. His assistant, Peter, entered with the day's agenda. When Richard Bernard's daughter will attend the corporate summit tomorrow. Shall I prepare your briefing? Peter added casually. Maverick's head snapped up. Bernard's daughter? Yes, Peter said, surprised at his sudden interest. Fobi Bernard, managing director of Bernard Global. She runs most of the operations while her father focuses on investments. Maverick leaned back, a slow smile forming. Of course, Richard Bernard was a titan, one of the few men Maverick respected unconditionally. In Fobi, his daughter wasn't just elegant and beautiful. She was powerful, a competent woman forging her own path. Admiration replaced infatuation the next evening. At the corporate summit in the Crystal Pavilion, Maverick's eyes searched the room for one face. He found a Fobi near the exhibition displays, hair in soft curls, a charcoal suit tailored perfectly. She radiated authority, every gesture deliberate, every word commanding. She wasn't just present, she was leading. When the crowd dispersed, Maverick approached. Ms. Bernard, he greeted with deliberate respect. Mr. Knight, twice in 1 week. People will think you're following me, she said, a knowing smile curving her lips. Perhaps I am, he replied smoothly. Or perhaps we simply move in the same circles, and fate is doing me a favor. Fobi chuckled, eyes narrowing. You don't believe in fate, Maverick. You believe in control. He paused. She was right. A rare glimpse into his guarded world. I'm beginning to think you're more dangerous than you look, he said. And I'm beginning to think you're not as untouchable as you pretend. She returned. Weeks passed, their meetings increasing under the guise of business. Lunches discussing mergers, dinners debating market trends, quiet afternoons in her office reviewing projects. But between contracts and charts, friendship blossomed. Maverick laughed more with Fobi than anyone in years. She teased, challenged him, occasionally ignored his calls to remind him he wasn't the center of her universe. He admired her discipline, refusal to coast on her father's name. She admired his ambition and rare glimpses of vulnerability. He was seen, not just admired, but the world wasn't forgiving. At a private dinner, his longtime partner Charles leaned forward with a smirk. I hear you're spending time with Richard, Bernard's daughter. You know what people are saying, a man like you with her doesn't fit the picture. Maverick's jaw tightened. And what picture is that? You know what I mean? Society and Sylvesters, they have expectations. Don't complicate things mixing personnel with business. That's enough. Maverick cut. Voice steel. Charles recoiled, surprised by the intensity. That night, driving home, anger churned not at Fobi, but himself. Charles had only voiced what Maverick once believed. The prejudice he thought buried whispered doubts again. 2 weeks later at a charity gala, Maverick and Fobi arrived, her hand on his arm. She looked radiant in navy. All was perfect until a socialite sneered, loud, enough for him to hear. Is he serious? Maverick Knight parading with her? Must be a phase. He'll come to his senses. Maverick stopped. Fob squeezed his arm, urging him to ignore it. He couldn't. If you have something to say about the woman I'm with, say it to me. Otherwise, keep your ignorance to yourself. The room fell silent. The socialite slinked away. Maverick turned to Fobi. Why did you do that? She whispered. Because you deserve respect, he said simply, and I won't let anyone reduce you. Fobi touched his face. Soft, warm. You're changing, Maverick Knight. I don't know if I should be impressed or terrified. Be both, he whispered, holding her hand. From then, their bond deepened. They wandered galleries, drove to quiet dinners. Her shared laughter revealed their pasts. Maverick's walls crumbled under her steady presence. By season's end, there was no doubt they were more than friends or colleagues. The moment he kissed her, it was clear, unplanned, genuine, a tenderness that shifted his world. The billionaire who once dismissed black women had fallen, and he wasn't afraid. Love, once weakness, was now his greatest strength with Fobi. Their courtship became legendary. They traveled, volunteered, cooked together, shared long drives. Maverick softened not passively, but powerfully, knowing he wasn't alone. Challenges arose. The press speculated. Society whispered. Elena Moore, his past, confronted him at a charity event, attempting to remind him of societal expectations. Do I make myself clear? He warned her, icy fire in his eyes. Elena faltered. Later, in her apartment, he confessed, quietly, I once would have dismissed you for your skin, but now I know I was a fool, for everything I didn't know I needed. Fobi's eyes glimmered. Then promise me you'll stand with me, she whispered. I promise, he said. They grew inseparable. Maverick learned compassion, love, joy. Public scrutiny remained, but he refused to yield. At a business conference, confronted by critics, he declared, Fobi Bernard is not just my partner in life. She's a leader, a visionary, and the woman I love. Anyone with a problem can take it up with me. Months later, by the river, city lights shimmering, he proposed. Will you marry me, Fobi? Yes. 1,000 times yes, she whispered, tears in her eyes. Their wedding blended grandeur and intimacy. Maverick's vows spoke of walls torn down by her grace, strength, and love. Fobi promised her life to him. The cathedral erupted in applause, under stars. As they danced, Maverick realized the truth. He hadn't just found love, he had found redemption. The billionaire who once dismissed black women had discovered his heart and humanity. Love had conquered prejudice and everything else. And it was only the beginning. Thank you for watching and supporting my channel. Your love, comments, and shares mean the world. Let's continue growing together, with love, from Whispers of Hope.